The Carpenter's Son isn't just another horror trailer, it's biblical horror. It's Nicolas Cage as Joseph, FKA Twigs as Mary, and a child Jesus at the center of something dark and unsettling. It's already one of the most talked about films of 2025, but here's the thing. This isn't the first time horror has tangled with religion. In fact, some of the scariest films ever made come straight out of Christian imagery. Faith, miracles, possessions, demons, doubt. So today, I want to walk you through 5 religious horror movies you should watch before The Carpenter's Son. And don't worry, no spoilers here, just the vibes, the controversy, and the way these films send a cold shiver down your spine. Number 5, The Witch, 2015. Let's start big with The Witch. A Puritan family in the 1600s, New England, tries to survive on their own, and they bring their religion with them. Every prayer, every sermon, every guilty glance is soaked in Christianity. What makes this film work isn't just the folklore, it's the atmosphere of belief crushing everyone inside that house. You feel it in every whispered prayer, every verse recited like a weapon. The Christian themes feel almost like an intense, suffocating disease here. And then, of course, there's Black Phillip. If you know, you know. If you don't, I'll just say this. It's one of the most iconic horror symbols of the last decade.
Damn your Black Phillip.
There's even a scene where Jesus is mentioned, and it's not comforting. It's terrifying. This is why The Witch belongs on this list. It treats religion like the thing that makes everything worse. Number 4, The Devils, 1971. Now, let's go back to one of the most controversial horror films of all time, The Devils. This film is insane. Possession, politics, nuns, and blasphemy all rolled into one. It was so intense, it was censored, cut, and in some countries outright banned. But here's the thing. Even with all the edits, The Devils still feels dangerous. It's loud, it's operatic, it's extreme, and at the center of it is religion. Warped, corrupted, turned into fuel for horror. If The Carpenter's Son ends up being as controversial as people say, The Devils is the perfect historic companion piece. It shows that religious horror has always pushed boundaries, and sometimes that's the point. Number 3, Saint Maud, 2019. Next up, Saint Maud. This film is modern religious horror done with a scalpel instead of a machete. It's not loud, it's not packed with jump scares, it's quiet, intimate, psychological, and absolutely suffocating.
It's how he guides me.
My little savior.
It's about devotion, it's about obsession, and it asks, what happens when faith consumes you completely? The reason it belongs on this list is simple. Saint Maud makes you feel religion not as comfort, but as dread. And that's exactly the kind of emotional unease that The Carpenter's Son seems to be going for.
What if I'm getting it all wrong?
Number 2, The Omen, 1976. Now, we can't make this list without The Omen. This is the classic religious horror that put a child at the center of everything. A family, a boy, and a creeping realization that something is wrong. Sound familiar? It's not about gore. It's about the idea that evil could be walking around in a child's body.
Look at me, Damien.
Smiling, innocent.
It's all for you.
Untouchable. And that's where the connection to The Carpenter's Son gets interesting. Because if you take one of the most familiar biblical children and drop him into horror, you're following the same dark path The Omen paved decades ago. Number 1, The Exorcist, 1973. And finally, The Exorcist, the most famous religious horror film of all time. A story about faith, doubt, and evil colliding in the most personal way possible. Even if you've never seen it, you know the imagery. The priest in the fog, the girl possessed, the white face in the darkness. This is horror history, and it still holds up. As a matter of fact, it holds up extremely well. Why is it here? Because The Exorcist proves something that the Carpenter's son is leaning into right now. Horror hits hardest when it messes with the sacred, when it makes you question the things you thought were untouchable. So there you go. 5 horror films to watch before the Carpenter's son. From Puritan nightmares to censored nun scandals, from obsession to children that aren't what they seem, religious horror has always been here, daring us to look twice at what we believe. And now, with the Carpenter's son on the horizon, it feels like horror is about to push those boundaries all over again. This makes me really hyped for the Carpenter's son, not gonna lie, because we live in time and day where good movies rarely get released. Are we in the presence of a classic in the making? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And if you're into this kind of breakdown, hit subscribe. It keeps horror well alive, and it means I'll keep covering the horror that unsettles me, just so I can unsettle you. Alright, I'll catch you in the next one.